Right, hello again, and this is the final problem for our optional or bonus exercise. Okay, so we'll be talking about economics here. So let's have a small talk about economics. So first things first. Now we are talking about water projects again. As I keep on repeating, water projects involve a long period of time. All right, you are talking about a period of 50 years, 100 years, and so on. In comparison, for example, engineering projects like skyways, malls, buildings, maximum lifetime is 30 years, right? Buildings normally don't go beyond 30 years. Skyways, roads, normally they're pretty much they're not they don't exceed that number of years. So water projects are on a different scale when it comes to project life. So it's important to be keenly aware of how money works when you look at it on a long time frame. Okay, so the basics here is let's talk about interest rate and net present value. So first things first, always remember that $1,000 that you get now is always better than a $1,000 that you get 1 year later or even later. So the sooner you get the money, the better. So why? So this is an example. Let's say for example, you receive $1,000 now and then you invest it by lending it to a friend or to a bank. So yeah, it's possible to lend money to a bank as a bond. So you can lend your money to your friend or who's trying to start a business or a bank who's trying to raise some capital. And let's say you can set the interest at 5% per year. So after 1 year you end up with $1,050. All right. And on the other hand, if you choose to get the $1,000 1 year later, what you receive is just $1,000, right? So that's how banks and investors think. Okay, so remember that managers, investors, banks, that's how they think. I mean, the sooner they get the money, the more interest they can earn from investing that money. Okay. So now, if we are to compare, all right, if we were to see those two monies at present values, let's say for example you're to compare $1,000 now versus $1,000 1 year later. So $1,000 now is more or less equal to a $1,000 plus 50 $1,050  1 year later. Okay. So in order to match a $1,000 that you can get now, you have to offer $1,050  1 year later. Okay, that's how their equivalence goes. All right, so yeah, always remember that yeah, an investor will always think that he can always invest his money by lending it to a friend or to a bank in form of a bond. Okay, so he can always invest it. That's why if you look at the financial statements of, let's say for example, Ayala Corporation, PLDT, San Miguel, part of their money is actually being lent to the bank or to other institutions. Okay, so that they can earn some interest. Okay, so there are times when there is just no good project to invest in. So for example, you're here a manager and you just can't find a good project to invest in. So you can just choose to lend the money you have to a bank as a bond and then earn some interest through time. Okay? So if you are, for example, gonna propose an engineering project or a water resource project, the mentality of banks and investors is that will your project be actually better? Will actually earn more compared to me just investing my money on a bond or lending it to a bank or lending it to another business and earn some interest. Okay? So that interest is what we call interest rate. And normally, interest rate it's actually always an estimated value. It typically ranges somewhere between 6 to 8% per year. Okay, okay, that's the typical interest rate for bonds or when you lend a money to an institution. All right, now our problem in the economic feasibility analysis is you are dealing with different project options. So there's a project and there are four alternatives. So you have four options here for projects. So all projects have a 20-year design life. Sorry, 20-year design life, and then the interest rate that we should be using is 6%. All right, and then the first alternative is actually will give you $100,000 at the end of first 10 years, and then a $200,000 at the end of 10 years. So how do you express that? So if we look at alternative one or option one, let's color it purple. So option one, what we have is screen is too small. Okay, so let's make it smaller like this. So what happens is in option one, you get a payout of $100,000 at year 10. And then you get another $200,000 at year 20. Now, if you just look at the totals, you get something around $300,000 if you don't factor in the interest rate and other stuff. So, this is actually a wrong number. These are wrong numbers because they don't factor in interest rates. Uh, you can you cannot simply add up money from today to 10 years because they do not have the same present value. Okay, so in short, money 20 years from now is simply is simply incomparable to money 10 years from now if you don't apply the net present value calculation. So you can't just do outright and total these numbers. Okay, they have different values if you view them from the present. Okay, so remember this one. Okay, money now is always better than money 1 year later or even later. So they are incomparable. All right, so you can ignore these totals here because they don't account for the net present value yet. Okay, so that's alternative one. Alternative two is you get annual returns of $15,000 for all the 20 years of the project. So that's basically $15,000 per year. And that's pretty simple, okay? You just put in $15,000 every year. And again, you can't just sum up this amount because $15,000 you get in year 1 is always different from $15,000 you get in year 2. Okay? If you actually invest this money in year 1, this is actually a bigger number compared to all the subsequent $15,000 you get. Alright, so let's color this orange. And then the third alternative is you get $6,000 at the end of the first year, and then it increases by 1,000 per year in the subsequent years. So that looks like this. First year is you get $6,000, and then the second year you get $7,000. All right. Third year you get $8,000 and so on. So you can just calculate this by using a plus 1,000 formula and drop it down. And then finally, our last or in fourth alternative is an investment that gets you $6,000 at the end of the first year, and then the returns or the payouts are projected to increase by 8% per year. So that works out like this. You get 6,000 in the first year, and then you get 8%. All right? So you can the simpler way to do this is you just that's just 1 plus 0.08 uh, sorry, 0.08. Okay, we just drop down that value, and you get 8% per year. Okay, so you have a compounding interest, compounding growth here. So 6,000 grows by 6%, and then the 6,480 grows by 8%, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, you can't simply sum up money without applying the net present value factor. All right. Now let's talk about the net present value. So the simplest way to think about it is that at year zero, let's say this is year zero, year zero. At year zero, the the value or year zero is your present. Year zero, year one, year two, year three, year four, year five, etc. So year one is at year zero, your net present value is equal to 1. Alright? Because year zero is our reference point. Okay, so year zero is our present. And that is our point of reference. So at year zero, the net present value factor is 1. Alright, so that means that 1,000 that you get, okay? So all other monies that you get later is inferior to the money that you get at present. So at year 1, the the present value of your money decreases by uh, is sort of divided by 106%. All right. So let's show how we derive this one. So let's go back to the $1,000 problem. All right. So at year 0, okay, so let's put in some options. Option A is your 1K now, and then option B is your 1K 1 year later. Let's move it here. Okay, so you have two options here. Alright, so year 0, you have year 1, year 2. Yeah, let's just talk about year 1, year 0, and year 1. So what happens here is at year 0, you get $1,000. And then if you invest your $1,000 on a 5% interest per year, you get $50. All right. Now for the 1K 1 year later, you get zero money in year 0, and then you get $1,000 in the sorry. Let's redo this. So in option A, you get $1,000 now. In option B, you get zero in year zero. Now in year one, your money is 1,050, and then in year one, you get 1,000. So that is basically the ratio of your money. Okay, so basically you can okay. So since option A has a 1 year advantage, all right, it is 1.05 times better than option B. All right. So if you want to actually just extrapolate that, if you look at it at a NPV, net present value, at a net present value perspective, 1,000 in year zero is just equal to 1,000. Okay, it's the same. And then 1,000 1 year later is something like 1,000 divided by your 1.50, 1.05 better. So that is the net present value of those two options. Okay. Now, as the if you have uh if you have an option 3, option C, like money that comes in 3 years later, like 2 years later, you get zero in the first year, zero in the you get zero you get zero in year zero, you get zero in year one, and then you get 1,000 in year two. Now, if you're still investing this one, your money in year one is already 1.05 squared because of compounding interest. And then if you invest option B also in a lending, you get okay. So you just so at this point you can see that option A is almost 1.1 times better than option C. So you are getting compounding value increase here. So if you will extrapolate back the values of these three options, in order to get the value of option C, you just have to divide it by 1.05 and divide it again by 1.05, and you get this net present value. Okay, so that's how it works. You just have to keep on multiplying the number by you keep on dividing the number by 100% plus the interest rate, all right, and you just sorry, and you just propagate it, all right, and then until as you can see, the money that you get in year 20 is just one third, less than one third the value that you get in year one or in year zero. Okay, so now let's apply that. Let's apply these the NPV factor on those investments. So alternative one, you what happens here is that your $100,000 is reduced into 0.56 by is reduced into 0.56% of its value compared to the present. And then the $200,000 is reduced to 31% of its value compared to the present. And then alternative 2, you also get decreased value here. Alright, so I just applied the NPV factor. Alright, so you're just getting decaying value. The 15,000 times 0.31 becomes just 4,677 and so on. So you just apply it to all the options, you get these values. And you can finally sum up all those values because they are all now adjusted to the present. So all numbers now adjusted to present value. So we can total now. Alright. So if we sum up all these numbers, okay, we can easily see which investment is the best. Alright, so so after factoring in the diminishing value of money with time, alright, we can see that alternative 2 is actually the best. And then alternative 3 and then alternative 4. So that is completely this is a completely different picture versus just simply summing up all those values. Alright, so if you just sum up all those values, they look almost the same, but they are not because of the net present value factor. What this is telling us is in alternative 2, we simply have more money we get more money at the start that we can easily invest in we can easily reinvest in something else like a bond or a business or lend it to an institution. Okay, so uh, alternative alternative 2 simply gets more money at the start, so that allows it so that this can theoretically allow you to reinvest early on, and as a result, you are actually getting a better quality money here in alternative 2. All right, so I hope that help you understand how net present value works. All right, so net present value is simply seeing how money in different years can change in terms of value. If you think of money as something that you can invest now and reap rewards later, okay? If you are not investing money, NPV is not actually important, okay? So are not investing your money, NPV is a useless because interest rate is right. So if you're not investing your money anyway, it NPV is a useless metric because your interest rate is zero because you're not investing in anything. You're not allowing your money or your funds to grow. Okay, so I'm not selling you something, or I'm not selling you a financial instrument, but that's how NPV works. Okay, so I'm just trying to relate to you better how I'm just trying to relate NPV to you because I know some of you are students, some of you are may not be still aware of how investing works and so on. So yeah, so that's how people might see money now. Different. That's how what makes the perspective our perspectives on money be slightly different. Okay, so if you have a mindset that you can always lend your money at a certain interest, like managers and investors, okay, you will definitely see that money that you get now is always better than money that you get later. Okay, so that is the point of this exercise. Okay, so alright, so that's how you calculate net present value for different options using the spreadsheet. So that's one method. Now, there's another method that's shown on the textbook. Uh, this method is just from me. I just solved this intuitively, and then these methods are more of a mathematical formula. So there are different mathematical formula that you can use to get the net present value of your investments. You have your single payment factor where you just have money being paid at different intervals and there are specific amounts. So that's the same as option one. You get 100,000 and then 20,000. So there are specific amounts paid at different intervals. So this is the formula. I won't be discussing this anymore. Okay, you can figure that out. And then the other formula is the uniform series factor, where you more or less get uniform returns at set intervals. So this is essentially option 2, where you get uniform 15,000 at a set interval of every year. And then you also have arithmetic gradient factors where you get money that increases every year. And that is option 3. All right. So that is option 3. And then you have your geometric gradient factor, which is essentially you have a return that is growing by a percent. And that is option 4. Alright, so you can just follow the example in Chin, example 17.1. Alright, so I will be simultaneously releasing this video with the problem sets that you have to solve, or you can optionally solve for the bonus points. Alright, so thank you for listening. If you have questions, you can email me or message me in Blackboard.